So at first, I was gonna start this review off with this intro, like, is this gonna be another movie that catches all the critics or something like that? You know, you try to use a gotta catch 'em all reference, but then as I did the first take of this, I kind of sat there and thought, is this another Nintendo movie? Is it gonna be better or worse than Super Mario Brothers? Stay tuned after the break to find out what my thoughts were.
Welcome to Rhyme City, a celebration of the harmony between humans and Pokémon.
So first off, I'm gonna say I really did enjoy it to a point. I enjoyed seeing the Pokemon being brought to life and fitting into real world and with humans in a non-uncanny valley kind of way. But the entire movie felt like it was just basically it didn't feel like it had a storyline. What ended up happening was they took a game concept, Detective Pikachu, and a really popular character, the most popular character I would say out of the entire franchise, Pikachu, and shove some Pokemon in there and try to build a movie around just that character, not an actual story or an idea. It doesn't really match anything that's happened around it or any of the other animes or Pokemon or anything like that. The main character kind of came into question. Was it Tim Goodman, who is the main human character that plays a young boy? I'm guessing after college, he's an insurance adjuster or an insurance salesman. Insurance salesman who's kind of doesn't have a purpose in life, is just floating on needlessly through life. Receives a phone call. His father passed away during an investigation. So he ends up going into the city, where basically the city has been created so that humans and Pokemon can live together. No fighting, no training. They basically live kind of like the Pokemon, kind of like pets, basically, what it was. And they don't live in Pokeballs. They all live in like their own natural outside. As he's going through his father's things at his apartment, he stumbles onto this Pikachu who he could speak with. And then from then on, it was kind of Detective Pikachu was definitely the draw, was definitely why I went to go see this movie. And we never got fully invested into Tim Goodman. We did find out a few things, basically kind of him sitting in we find out later, recreation of his childhood room, where basically he kind of sees some things that we see the things that happened to him, why him and his father kind of become a little bit more distant, why he wasn't living with him and stuff like that. And again, we start to get backstory, but none of it really matters. I'm not sitting here like, well, I definitely want to know what happened, or it just didn't feel right. Again, so there's like a slow start, kind of introducing the Tim Goodman character, because basically the minute that it starts, I'm like, why aren't we seeing Detective Pikachu? Why is this taking so long? Why are we still kind of sitting here learning all these pointless things to kind of just drive home the point of who this Tim Goodman character is? That was the issue. I didn't really care, and so basically it was a slow start, and then the ending. I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but what ended up happening is it was just so dissatisfying. I basically we got to the ending, it happened, and I'm kind of sitting there like, is it okay? What? And basically, my issue with it was that the battles or the action set pieces that happened in the previous acts and the whole previous part of the movie felt stronger, felt more action packed, felt something that I really definitely wanted to see, as opposed to what we actually ended up getting. And that was just, it crushed me, because I'm just sitting here like, there's so much more potential here, and none of it just wasn't there. And I think that's what led my idea to, there isn't a cohesive story, where it was just basically like, oh, you have this part, you have that part, we're gonna throw these in at you, and then boom, all of a sudden we're at the ending, and it's like, okay, we have to resolve this, we're just gonna do that. And it didn't feel right. It didn't feel comfortable. And the ending, just again, the thing is, the ending really spoils the entire movie, unfortunately, and it just left this huge, like, just bad taste in my mouth. And it's kind of the same bad taste I had after watching the Lego movie, where I was just like, I've been on this entire adventure, this crafted story. I've definitely been paying attention. I've enjoyed it. And then I get to the point of where I'm just sitting there like, what was it all for? Same thing like at the ending of the Lego movie. I did not enjoy that ending at all. Because I'm just kind of like, you're trying to explain away or trying to explain some things that happened, but it's like, I would have just rather lived in the Lego reality and lived there. And the Detective Pikachu kind of does similar things. You're kind of sitting there like, what was the point of this? Like, this all just feels like, I get it, like there's some kind of story, and maybe younger people or other people definitely understand a little bit better, or be more touched or connected to it. For me, I'm just kind of sitting there like, this almost doesn't justify this entire film. And that's basically it. Without going into any more crazy spoilers or anything like that, it just doesn't feel right. And it feels like there are a lot of things shoehorned into this. Again, the potential is definitely there. The thing is, I'm starting to worry. This is the second time, and it's hard not to draw parallels to something like Super Mario Brothers, which I won't do again without spoiling it. But you're kind of sitting there like, they took a game and they took a concept and they tried putting something around it, and it just didn't work. I don't think it did, and I don't know if the popularity of Pokemon is gonna be able to carry this film. Because I mean, the thing is, they've had film releases before. There's been Pokemon in theaters before. I remember when I was younger going to these things, and those definitely happened. And I think those definitely did. I don't know if they did super amazing, but they definitely did well. And I'm just wondering, like, if it's the curse of the Nintendo live action, and just that's something that we just can't have, or it just doesn't work. But the Pokemon, again, they definitely do look amazing in this one. Even though you could definitely tell that they were saving on animation costs by not having every single Pokemon in there, they definitely reuse a lot of Pokemon. And maybe I have to go back and watch it again, but I know that they used Squirtle and Blastoise, but I never saw Wartortle. So it's interesting kind of looking back, and it's definitely not just stuff from the beginning. And there's a lot of references. I'm pretty sure there's an Ash Ketchum reference. There are, I think the biggest thing, and kind of going into it, that in the beginning that helped me kind of pull me in, and maybe definitely enjoy it more, was the soundtrack, was the music. Because it was kind of modern day mixed with the classic battle music and town music of the video games, of the Game Boy games and stuff like that. And that really drew me in. And that really kind of was like, oh, this feels like that game again. But overall, the ending just told, like, if it were just a little better, I'd be able to recommend it. But unfortunately, I can't recommend this movie. And it hurts because I love Pokemon. I have my entire life. Not as much now, but it's definitely one of those things where I'm just sitting here like, it's a shame. It's so we'll see how it does. Awesome. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. If you've seen it already, if you watched the Pokemon Detective Pikachu movie, feel free to leave comments in the comment box below. Let me know what you thought of it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you absolutely just think it was garbage? Do you think it was better or worse than Super Mario Brothers? Like and subscribe to get more of these. I'm going to start trying to do this a little bit more. Just getting into that headspace and getting into the courage to go up and start speaking into this camera and not having those little things in the back of my head. Either way, it's been fun. Talk to you on the next one.